Hey, hello everyone. Hi, Tracy at TRCast here with a jewelry demo. We missed last week. Sorry about that. Hi, Julie Peterson. Julie Young is also here with us. She'll be doing our monitoring comments and hanging out and visiting and posting links for you guys. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Sue. It is so nice to see you guys. We did miss last week because I had some technical difficulties. Hi, Landa. But got them worked out, we hope. You know, every week it's something new. It's just a different technical something every week. But our demo today is some earrings that we've had around for quite a while. Julie, are you here? I do want her to pop in because last week or a couple weeks ago we were having...
I'm here, but I'm not seeing the video start yet on the Facebook page. So let me keep clicking through and I'll join in.
Okay, it is. We're streaming, so we're good. And when you find it, we'll just know that you'll pipe in and start posting links as it comes up. You know, people have questions or Sabrina, I'm fine. Sabrina Parr is saying, Tracy, how are you? I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm okay. Things have been a little hectic, both here at work, and I did it wasn't an unexpected. Yes, it was a little unexpected. I did a home improvement project over the last week or so. We put a tile floor down in our kitchen, and it was just a crazy amount of work. And the house was in complete disarray, and it was just pretty crazy for about a week. And so I don't think I'm recovered. I think I'm still kind of recovering from that. And work's been busy as always, you know, and but here we are. Glad that our, hi, Kimberly. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Donna. I'm glad that our technical issues so far seem to be behaving. Actually, I should say all the technical stuff is behaving today. So we'll see. All right, so these earrings, hold on. Gotta get things where I can see what I'm showing you guys. And I'm always thinking too, guys, because I'm posting these videos up onto YouTube as well. And so it's like a close-up moment. I want a good shot that will make a good thumbnail for the video on YouTube. So, you know, trying to show you guys what I'm doing and also make sure I can get a decent shot for further social media content. Anyway, Carnivale earrings. We have had these in our archives for a few years. I made them when we came out with our line of brass cord ends. And our cord ends, again, flip-flopping you guys, our cord ends, people have asked us for cord ends, especially like larger ones like 8mm and 10mm that can be used with kumihimo designs or seed bead rope designs. And for a long time, we hadn't quite worked out how we were going to cast those out of pewter because our parts are cast pewter. And we cast in, that's what we do here at the shop, is we're manufacturing and we cast pewter components. So we didn't quite have it figured out how to cast that type of part. We did plenty of bead caps and plenty of cone type of components, but we hadn't quite figured out that configuration for a cord end. So our first attempt at cord ends, or our first group of products, were turned brass that we had designed and had manufactured in China and imported them. So we've had those in our launch, and those came out about, I don't know, maybe 2015 or so. And these wonderful little, these are 8mm brass cord ends, were part of that group. And we do still have some available, so you can find the different brass cord ends. But in the meantime, we kept working on our production, and finally were able to create our own cast cord ends. And so these, there's an array of them. The one I'm holding is a no loop type of cord end, and it's a 6mm. And we have a variety of sizes and styles of our own cast cord ends, which we're very happy about. And I'm actually going to use one of our cast cord ends in the version of the earrings I'm going to demo today. So I'm going to switch my camera. And I know Julie's piping in because I see her posting links to different things for you guys. And let's see, always remember, guys, that I will look at the video later. I mean, Julie will respond to things as they come up, but I will also read through them later and watch the video and respond to anything if something gets missed. So let's take this away because we're going to start right now. So the original colorway of these earrings is just, you know, fabulous warm palette. Hold on a sec. I'm trying to adjust my screen.
It's the perfect name for those, Tracy.
What's that?
Carnival earrings is the perfect name for those.
Yes. So the original palette is, you know, this wonderful kind of warm, colorful palette. And I always just think of them like if I'm not going to music festivals these days. Nobody is really. I mean, they're definitely coming back, but I always think of them as like they'd be a perfect design for a summer music festival. So at the time, they got the name Carnivale, and I thought that today we would do a different colorway. So with these, maybe summer music festival. With this colorway, maybe a fabulous beach party, or you know, a music festival on the beach. There are such things. So this is the palette we're going to work with today. Just a little variation, and I'm using a silver 8mm bead cap. We make bead caps with both loops at the top so that you glue your materials in to the cap, or we make ones that have holes so that you can use wire wrapping. So we're going to be using this one today. Now, my original event did say that we were going to do a bracelet variation. We do not have time for that today. Julie and I have another meeting at 11. So we're going to do the earrings, and then I'll show you what I have on a tray a little later. When we're done with this, I'll show you what's on the tray for the bracelet. And I think we'll do that next week. We'll just come on back and do that one next week. So what I need, and we did include, I should have already posted a link to this project on our website so you can see the project sheet and the part list. So what we need is two, and I only have one out because I'm only making one of the earrings today, but to make a pair, you would need two 8mm cord ends, and these ones are our Palace. The project sheet that we link to lists the brass Taj cord ends. Either one will work. They're virtually the same, just this one's our cast pewter and this one's brass, but the size is the same. Let's see, we need some of our little 2mm round beads. You need 3 per earring, and you could also just use a seed bead. You don't really have to have those little 2mm beads. Each of these earrings is going to have 3 seed bead strands and 6 strands of, I'm using some suede lace, 3mm suede lace. You could also use whatever suede lace you have on hand, leather. This is faux suede. So you need 6 strands of that are about 4 inches long per earring, remember. And you need 3 seed bead strands that are about 3 inches long. And I've already put together 2 of those because in the interest of time, I didn't want us to have to sit and pick up seed beads for, 5 minutes a strand. So I also need an ear wire, of course. This is a 6mm round jump ring, one of our 6mm round jump rings. And this is an interesting note about our jump rings. All of them, the sizes designated for each jump ring are the inside dimension. And that is because for people who do chainmail, the inside diameter or the inside dimension of a jump ring is what they need to have, the info they need to have to put together chainmail patterns. So all of our jump rings are, the size designation is the inside dimension. That's just a tidbit that came up for me last week when I was talking with a customer and she got the wrong size jump ring. So I was letting her know that that was the case with our jump rings. We also need an assortment of size 8 and size 11 seed beads. And I just have kind of a little mix. Most of them are size 8s, but there's a few size 11 green ones mixed in there for, I want that variety of texture. So I wanted to mix up the sizes a little bit. I need some 22 gauge craft wire, one 3-inch piece for each earring. And I need some beading thread. You can use your favorite. I'm going to use some of the Fireline bonded braided beading thread, and I'm going to work right from the roll. So I've got about 2 feet unspooled, and I'm going to thread on a big eye beading needle. You can use whatever needle you prefer, but big eyes are nice and easy. And I'm also going to want to pre-close this little oval jump ring. You need 3 of these little oval jump rings for each earring. And this is our smallest one. It's about 2 by 3 millimeter. And you want to close that very securely so that there's no gap. There's no gap. You want it to be nice and snug because we're going to be attaching the bead strand to that, and you don't want that, that fine beading thread to be slipping through there. So I'm just giving this extra attention to make sure it's really securely closed and won't have a gap. So that's good. Pre-closed. I've got my needle threaded. I've got a little pile of seed beads to start working with, and I'm just going to pick up random pattern. I'm going to pick up about 3 inches of them. And while I'm doing that, I can probably look at the comments and see if you guys have any interesting questions or anything.
I don't think there's any questions right now.
Nothing yet. And a couple of weeks ago, if you guys were watching, Julie and I were having this weird thing going on where when she talked, it kept switching the camera view on the Zoom stream. It kept switching to her just black screen because she's not doing video. And we were like, why is it doing that? We finally figured that out, that it was because we were on speaker view instead of gallery view in the meeting. But I'm
yes,
glad.
So now we're completely ready for the next technical difficulty.
We're ready. Bring it. No, we shouldn't even say that, Julie. That's so not even smart.
Oh, I'm confident there will be one.
So I'm just picking up random, a random little arrangement.
Carrie is having all of the technical difficulties today.
I'm sorry, Carrie. It just, I don't know.
That's okay.
It just is what we're all got to deal with in this techie world.
Luann is asking if you can use closed jump rings.
Yeah, that would work. If you've got closed jump rings on hand, then that would be even easier. But they do need to be very small. So that is important because I'm going to be tucking those up into the cord end. So I'm a little shy of 3 inches, so just a couple more. And I say I'm being random, but I'm picky. So I'm choosing colors a little bit. That's about 3 inches, so that's good. And now I want to string that little 2 millimeter bead that I was showing you guys that now I don't see.
I see it right above you. Oh, you just bumped it, I think.
Oh, I see it.
Linda wants to know, you're going to show where you got the suede, the micro suede, right?
This is pretty easy to find. It's a Beadsmith product. gosh, these rules have been around the shop for a while, but I am 99.9% certain this is still a product that's available out there. Comes in lots of fun colors. And most of your bead stores and bead supplies should have it. Yeah, it's a
Ultra suede.
yeah, it's ultra microfiber suede. So it shouldn't be hard to find.
Lila wants to know what the name of the colorway of the blue beads are.
Oh, it's a random mix. You know, I pulled out just a variety of 8mm. Actually, I didn't even do that. I had a little baggie of bead soup, what we call bead soup, from a previous project. So it's just different random beads that were from some previous project that I found in my seed bead drawer. And then I added the little, what do you call it? The little 11mm ones. All right, so what am I doing? I have finished stringing my collection of beads. I'm now adding that little 2mm bead. And now what I'm going to do is go back through all of the beads, except for that little 2mm. I'm going to skip that and go back, making sure I get my needle through all the beads because I don't want to skip any beads. I'm going to go back through all of those, back to the top. Could use a little more light. Sorry, everything's going to wiggle for a minute, guys, while I bring some light closer. I love projects that use bead soup because you know you always have, if you're making jewelry on a regular basis, you'll have some little random, well, not really random, you'll have some leftover beads from a project that, you know, it's just sitting there. And so opportunities to use those, I always love that. Random, well, not really random. We got some other audio going on, but Julie will find it and mute it. And now I'm arranging those beads. I'm pulling up the slack because I want about a 4-inch tail. I can go ahead and take my needle off. I may regret that, but I think it's okay. Oh, look, guys, I missed 3 beads. Wow. I fell asleep there for a minute or something. So I'm just going to pull this out, the stringing, the cord that I missed the beads. And then I can put my needle back on and get back through them. That's another wonderful thing about working with the big eye needles. If you have to kind of undo some of your beadwork and you need to remove your needle, it's just a little quicker and easier with the big eye needles.
Those needles.
Yeah, me too. All right. So now I can cut. Remember, I was working from the spool, so I'm just going to trim that now. And I can remove my needle. And here's where I want that little 3mm. Hey, Crystal Lick is watching.
What?
Hey, Crystal.
How did you see that? Not me.
I don't know. Hi, Crystal. It's been a while. What was I saying? Got distracted by seeing Crystal's name.
I'm not seeing her name.
Oh, she's in there. I saw her.
Wonder what's happening.
I've got my little jump ring that's closed very securely. And I want to thread the ends of my, I'm going to trim these so they're even, just makes it easier. I'm going to thread those through that jump ring and bring that jump ring back down to my beads. And then I'm going to make a little overhand knot. This is kind of very similar here, where if you do any pearl knotting or bead knotting, I'm just making a little overhand knot, and then I'm going to thread my tweezers. I'm using some sharp nose tweezers. I'm going to thread those through the loop and grab the cords right at the top of that bead strand. And then you see the jump rings. I had threaded the jump ring on, came around and started my knot underneath the jump ring. So the jump ring's kind of going to attach on the outside of the loop. And I think what I'll do is I'll just do that over again so that you guys can see what I did. So let me undo that knot. Got my tails.
Lots of people are seeing this as a necklace.
Could be.
Necklace tassel.
Got my jump ring on there. Starting the loop for an overhand knot. Reaching through there with my tweezers to grab the ends and pull them through. And then I'm reaching through the loop of the knot and grabbing my threads right there. And this is where also I can make sure I'm taking up the slack in my strand of beads. So I want to make sure I'm gripping those cords right after that last bead. And then I just pull the tails and tighten up that knot. And extra security, the smart thing to do might be to do that again, put a second knot there. And actually, I think the directions say to do that. So I'll follow the directions. But then I'm also going to add a little glue there to make sure it doesn't come undone. Uh-oh, I lost one of the tails. There we go. There we go. And then I use the tips of my tweezers to just kind of push those knots in. I'm pulling on the tail and I'm pushing on the knot, like away from each other, if that makes sense. Pushing with the tweezers going that way, pulling on the tail going that way, and tightening it up really well. And then I'm going to put a little hypo cement on there. You could use, hypo cement's probably the best. I was going to suggest a super glue, but sometimes with some cords, super glue is not advised. So before I recommend that, I just stop and not use the hypo cement instead. And then ideally, I'd probably be setting this side and letting it dry for a little while before I trim this. But since we're doing a demo, all right. So now I have my 3 cute little bead strands. They look adorable. And the next thing I want to do, and actually this comes in the instructions that I wrote, this actually is one of the first steps. I had cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 suede lace strands. Each one's about 4 millimeters long. And I took a Sharpie and made a mark about 1/4 inch from the end of the strand. And then with each of these strands, I used an awl to poke through and make a hole right there where I marked. And I did that already with all of them, made the holes. I'm gonna go ahead and go through them again. And I really pushed that awl up through quite far so that I could actually see the hole. Because with the suede lace, you make that hole and then it shrinks right back up. So I'm just pushing through them again. So it'll be easier to get the wire through when it comes time to do that.
That looks like dangerous work.
Awls are, you got to be careful with the awls. So this one isn't poked through yet. So I'm just going to do that. I saved one. I did the other ones in advance and then saved this one. Whoops. And that is off center. I don't want it there. And I'm just poking the awl through there and then pushing it to make the hole bigger. All right, and now we can move on to assembling all of these strands together. So I have a 3-inch piece of 22 gauge craft wire, and I'm going to use, I could use round nose pliers. Do I have some here? I do. I could use round nose pliers, or I could use bail making pliers. I want to shoot for one of the wider areas. So I'm going to, using the bail making pliers, I'm just going to wrap this wire around. I want it right about at the center of this 3-inch piece of wire. And I'm just making a loop.
Is that going to have to fit up in the cone, in the cord
Yes.
end?
Mm-hmm. So
So you
that's
don't-
why I want it roomy. I don't want to use one of these bigger ones, and it's soft craft wire, so it'll shrink up as we need it to when we pull it, when we push it up into the cone. All right. Now I'm going to start threading on all my little elements that I made. I'm going to thread on one bead strand and bring it around where it's looped and bring it down to the bottom. And then I'm going to string on 2 pieces of suede and repeat that, just keep bringing it down. Into the inside of that loop I made. Two, and then after those 2 pieces of suede, I'm going to go with another bead strand. And 2 more pieces of suede.
I always like white as an element for an earring.
Uh-huh.
I have darker hair, so, well, it's getting lighter by the day, but but the white always shows up so well.
Yeah, it
And
pops.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Right, come on now. And then, wait a minute, how many was that after my last bead strand? Oh, I think I missed a bead strand. So the pattern was 2 pieces of suede, bead strand, 2 pieces of suede, bead strand, 2 pieces of suede. All right, and then I've got those all down in that loop. And the next thing I want to do is just kind of wrap the ends of the loop around the top of all of that material. And here's where a pair of chain nose pliers might be useful. Because I'm grabbing the ends and just pulling them around. And it doesn't have to be pretty, because all of this is going to get tucked up inside that cord end. So it doesn't have to be particularly nice. Just want it to, we want to make sure that all of that stuff is secure enough. And also, there's going to be glue. So once I got that all wrapped, I'm going to trim off some ends. I could just keep wrapping and tuck them in, but just trimming them off. All right. that's looking pretty good. I think the next stage, the next step is to just start tucking that up into the inside the cord end. So what I've got here is some E6000 jewelry glue, and it's an old tube, so you know how it gets. It gets all gets all gummy and yucky, but that's just what it does.
How long does that take to dry?
What's that?
How long does the E6000 take to dry?
Probably in an hour it's dry, but you really want to let it, you know, almost any adhesive, you really want to let it set and cure as long as you can. So what does this one say? It may not even say it on here. It may say it on the packaging that it came in.
Crystal should chime in. She's a glue expert.
Yeah, she knows about adhesives. But I would let this, I mean, I wouldn't wear these for a few hours. I would maybe even let them sit overnight just to make sure that the glue is really cured. So now I'm going to take my tweezers again and kind of grab that whole mess right in between the tassel and just start tucking up in there.
Wow, that fit in really well.
It did. The 8mm is nice and roomy. So I noticed that one of the bead strands was looking a little loose, like there was extra thread. So I'm just going to tuck a little more glue up in there right next to that
Crystal
one that looked.
says, leave them alone for a couple hours, go get a cup of coffee and come back later.
Smart. That's the way it should be. So I'm putting a little more glue right there where it looked like one of those bead strands was a little loose. I don't want it to be on the outside, but it's going to get a little messy. Tuck it up in there. And just continuing
to you boss your jewelry around, you make it work no matter what it throws at you.
Yeah, and so I'm continuing to tuck things up in. Oops, that one came completely loose. I love how you guys always get to see the fooey ups. All right, so how do we? Did I forget to knot that one when I put the jump ring on and it's all trimmed? How do we fix that?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a two-strander.
It could be. It could just end up with only 2 strands of seed beads, but I actually think that if I just glue it in there, it'll be fine.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it can be a 3-strander for a while, and then maybe later it'll turn into a 2-strander.
That could happen. All right.
Crystal says that it's 24 hours for E6000 to be fully cured.
Yeah, I was thinking it was probably. So I just put some more E6000 in there, and I'm going to tuck that strand up in there.
Heck yeah.
And it'll dry, and hopefully it'll be okay. But, you know, the instructions that I wrote, follow those and follow them better, and hopefully this won't happen to you.
You'll have to give us updates on how that earring fares over time. I
mean, worst case scenario, if this bead strand did not hold, I would just do another one. I would do another strand and complete with the jump ring, you know, and then just tuck that up in there and glue it in there. So that's our little tassel. And here is where I'm going to take some scissors and trim these, you know. I don't want everything the exact same length, but I do want to be able to see kind of a variation in what's hanging low. You know, I want some variation in the ends.
How do you get them from being so wild?
Well, I know that with the leathers, with actual suede lace, you don't really want to get them wet. It will change the texture. It will change, it will change the color. It can with actual suede lace, so you wouldn't want to use water. And I actually have not tested that with the faux suede. I wonder if you could just use some water. But probably the best way, if you really wanted these to not have the curve from being on the roll, is to cut your strands like beforehand and then put them under a book or something. Put them under something that will kind of flatten them and leave them there for a day or so. And that should kind of help it flatten out and not be so kind of crazy. And so that's it with the tassel. The last steps for putting the earring together is and with the original design, our brass cord hands had a much smaller loop. And I'm trying to think, was I able, if I wanted to put the ear wire directly through there, I couldn't with this one because the loop on the ear wire wasn't big enough to work with the loop on the cord end. So the original design had that jump ring in between, which I like. I visually like the way that looks. Our new cast cord ends have a much bigger loop. So I could attach the ear wire right to it, or I can go with the original design and put a jump ring in between there. So you could do either. And so that's it. And of course, you just repeat all those steps for the second earring.
So we're getting quite a lot of people that like the crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's
and
fun.
then Sherry says she thinks it may sound weird, but she just uses her flat iron on a low setting.
Oh, hey, that's a thought. Has she done that with leather suede and the faux suede?
That's what it sounds like she's saying. And
Oh, that's brilliant.
it does feel like it's, when we're talking about, you're always doing haircuts and
Right.
letting the hair and sticking down the cowlick, and why not use hair products, hair technology?
That is a great idea, and I'll bet it will work. And also, I mean, these ones have been around for years, and you can see that the suede lace is all straightened out. So really, even just hanging, eventually gravity takes its effect and kind of straightens everything out. So that's a thing too. So that is it for the earrings, guys.
People liked them.
Yeah, I do want to show everyone. So the bracelet that we don't have time for today, what I was hoping to do, and again, I'm using the suede lace, and I started putting it together, but we just don't have time to finish it today. What I'm going to do is use the cord ends with a loop, so we'll be closing them with wire wrapping, and I'll be stringing. I've got some real fun bead soup mix of 8mm beads. And it looks like there's some delicas in there. There's some cylinder beads and some round beads. So that's great. It will give it some texture. And this cord end is a 6mm. We don't currently have a cast pewter cord end that's with the hole instead of the loop in an 8mm. So I'm using the 6, which is why I chose the smaller the smaller size of seed beads. So I think we'll come back and do that next week, because I am intrigued by how this one will come out as a bracelet instead of the earring.
You should encourage anybody that makes the earrings, because a lot of people are saying they're going to make them, to send you pictures.
Oh, absolutely. If anybody makes anything from our demos, what's happening, I'm trying to get back to the Facebook stream and my computer's not being cooperative. if you make stuff from our demos, and I also wanted to switch the camera back and I got completely distracted. Let's see. Come on now. Uh-oh, the blue spinning wheel of death.
Uh-oh,
Hopefully
what's that?
it's fine. It just, Zoom was not responding. Here we go. Let me switch my camera. It's always something, you guys.
It always is. Always.
Always. Here I am. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So yeah, if you, anytime someone makes something from, you know, from one of our demos, we would love to see it. So you can post it on the Facebook page. You can, you know, you can share it here in the comments of the video, but it's much more likely that I'll see it sooner if you just pasted it onto our Facebook page, and you can do that. So we would love to see anything that you guys do from the demos. So I think that's all we got, Julie.
I think so.
And we are right about on time for our next meeting. So we'll have to say goodbye, everyone. And thank you, as always. We always love that you guys join us and watch our demos. So thank you. And we will see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Bye.
See you later.